I believe the role of a black woman is to work for a just society, in the kind of a society in which children can grow up without fear, in which they can hope. Don't you think so?
Really, you know, to boil it all down, black woman is mother of civilization. That adds it up. She is. She's actually the mother, you know. That's it. She's the mother of the earth. She bears forth fruit to fertilize the soil.
I agree.
I agree. I think we have overlooked the fact that black women have been for the white nation. They have sucked us dry. That we have nursed the children, we have fed them, we have done everything, put all our energies, all our work into working for the white family. And now it's time for us to take all our strength, all the strength that Monahan says we have. You know, we're supposed to be the strongest women anyway. It's time for us to take all our strength, all our milk, all of that, and put it into working for the black nation.
I'd like to touch on something here. I'm glad you brought this up, and I don't know what reaction this is going to get because a lot of people jump at me when I say it. But unfortunately, all people in this country, black people and white people, are subjugated to the same system of media, are subjugated to the same systems of communication, are subjugated to the same conditioning. And that's something we definitely have to reckon with if we're going to ever get through any of this stuff. Moynihan, that's sort of the name that's associated with that word matriarchy, definitely has to be dealt with.
I'd like to deal with him face to face.
Right. I think that unfortunately, a lot of us, black men and black women, believe in the myth of that matriarchy. And I think that belief engenders a lot of negative things. Number one, it says that matriarchy is inferior to patriarchy, which is a whole thing right there. You see that patriarchy is a sort of natural or divine order of things, which is not so. Two, that black men have believed and internalized the myth of white womanhood in this country and Anglo-Saxon impositions, so that they place us in relation to where white women are.
There's two things a woman, I believe, being a black woman and a very proud black woman, can do for a man, make him or break him. And then you take into consideration how the black man has been berated by the white man. His woman, you know, adequately couldn't have the luxuries of another woman, born the same just like her. This man has to, you know, black men have stood by for a very, very long time and been humiliated by the, you know, the system. He can't get the job that this fella can get. And you must understand that his wife might have to go on welfare. He has to stay in the humility of that. He has to watch the plumber duck if the welfare worker come in there. You understand me? He has always been like made to feel he's below the next man. So you must, all this you must come, you know, take into consideration. You know, now black men are learning, you know, that they're part. They're beginning to feel like a man. They're getting their dignity and their pride back. So he needs a woman to keep on pushing him. Vice versa, you know. And when you say about, you know, in the system, this system has destroyed actually the black man. You know, because everything that we've ever done, there's no part of this country that you can say, if you touch that a black man didn't bring it in here. You know, everything that they built, they've never been able to share with it. I don't even want to hear that, you know. What society have done just took our black men and destroyed their manhood. That's what they've done. They aided and abetted.
I'm certainly not in disagreement. I'm in 200% agreement with everything you said. I think we all are.
But mightn't it, excuse me, mightn't it be, you know, like, we understand that what the brothers are going through now, as you say, the cultural national, but mightn't it all be very revolutionary, and you might be the better woman for understanding that they, at this point, they need you to walk a few feet behind them to get their manhood together. So if it takes that, then I'm going to do whatever the brothers need now. I mean, I've been doing a lot of research on slavery, and talk about wiping out and ripping off our people. They did it to the black man. They did it. And if it takes, at this point, a cultural nationalist say, you got to walk 4 paces behind me, baby, slow. If that might be revolutionary, I'll do that. I mean, I'm going to do anything at this point that's needed.
Is that revolutionary? How revolutionary is it if one half of us is in condescension and a kind of almost fear saying, walking 10 paces behind you, saying that in order for me to, quote, regain my manhood,
maybe that's
I have to deny you your
right
peoplehood.
No.
Is that revolutionary? I think we
I'm
really have to
saying
explore
if somebody
that.
really needs that, you know, I don't. We just have to do whatever we need to do to
See,
help
that
these
says
black
to me
men
that
get
you
together.
really believe that there has been this thing called a matriarchy that, as Moynihan
I
put
believe
it,
we've been ripped off as a people. Black people have been ripped off.
No, we haven't been ripped off.
but you're not saying that the internal thing
No,
that really...
I take that back. Black people hasn't been ripped. Black people have been raped of every ounce of human things that's entitled and due another human being.
Right.
Do you know how we
that's
really
what it
can't
is.
get this together? And really, because to me, this is very alien, and we shouldn't be sitting here talking about defining something which has been defined for us. We should be about redefinition. And I don't particularly care whether I walk alongside, in back of, or in front of. That is going to have to be defined for me by my man. We know too well what our being is all about in the United States of Europe. We have to deal with that. That's why I started out by saying, are we talking about changes within existing systems? Because that's all we're talking about. We're talking about a black nation within a European nation. And if we have to deal with that, then let's redefine our own culture and stop being a subculture. Stop worrying about the man. That's deifying him. Who is the man? You know.
I agree with you, except, sorry, go ahead, Anita.
No, I just wanted to mention in terms of cultural nationalism and what, you know, brothers feel. I don't know, you know, if it's all true that brothers would like you to walk 10 paces in back of them. But I do know that we do have a definite role, and until we play our definite role, they cannot play their definite role. And our roles are complementary, complete and make perfect that which is imperfect. And that if we go about being the inspiration of the nation, and again educating the children of the nation, and participating in the social development of the nation, that it would be no problem. And when we say we should not discuss things, we start out to discuss them. Like, why raise Moynihan if he's invalid? Don't raise him. Don't talk about him.
I really believe this very strongly, that as much as we would all like to say that and struggle every day re-examining ourselves to do just that, that we are unfortunately very much a part of that dominant culture. It does affect us. Now, if it didn't affect us, we wouldn't be fighting crackers. And that's the truth of it. If it didn't affect us, we wouldn't get mad about what Mr. Moynihan writes. And if it didn't affect us, certain people would not react to the myth of the matriarchy in the way they do. And that's why it has to be exposed and destroyed. It's not that I really want to spend time talking about Mr. Moynihan. It's that I think that we have to get rid of the illusions, we have to get rid of the poisons, we have to get rid of the lies. And one way to do that is expose it and dissect it.
Another way, if we create a new life, a new value system, and live it as an example.
That's what I'm talking about. That's it.
That would probably be the best way, because then people could see it as a living thing and not as a theory. Because what we need to do is to reestablish a new value system. That's what black people need, a value
and
system.
exactly, and how do we go about that?
We go about it the way you go about daily work. First of all, you decide what you want. You establish your value system, you start to live it. And the people in your community, you start talking to your neighbors. You get yourself together first.
Exactly.
Then you get your community together.
We're in agreement.
Then you get your neighborhood together.
We're in agreement.
Right. And then you can move on out. But in the beginning, you got to make sure you got yourself together.
Right.
You know, you have to start right here.
But I think we ought to be sure we understand what she's saying. Now, this relates to what you said earlier about the black nation, right?
Exactly.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by the black nation.
I mean, black people's lives, being self-determining, defining yourself, naming yourself, and having political power. We're a nation already without political power and military power. We're a cultural nation without political and military power. We're a nation, you know, in captivity by another people, a people who have a different, totally different culture than we have, who cannot even relate to the things that we relate to. That is the problem. And as black women, we have to be the inspiration for the nation, for our men. We have to start out into the community educating the children, educating ourselves. Because once we educate ourselves, the children will become educated, because we are the ones that teach the children. We are the ones that decorate the homes. We are the ones that are with both female and male children. We are the ones that the children look to as the image in terms of their daily education. So it is important that we don't get our values mixed up and feel that we have to educate the world. We haven't first educated ourselves. It's still always a self thing.
Indeed.
I mean, the world will relate to us once we can relate to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we're afraid of definitions and afraid to set guidelines because we might have to live by them. If you stand up and say a black woman should do this and that, then you might have to do that. But if you say, well, we don't have to say anything, you know, we can just do it. Do what? So like everybody can do their own thing. But every society needs a value system. Every society has a criteria in which they live by.
And we live by
one.
everybody else's.
Exactly.
Right.
We should
have
include-
many.